What is going on, everybody? Drew Kerr here with CG Ruthless. We are here today to talk about the new kickoff rule, but first we wanted to open up with a beer review. And per usual, every Tuesday night. Sorry we missed you guys last week. We took a break. There wasn't too much going on last week, but now that training camp just started today, we're gonna start ramping the material and ramping up the videos and give you guys as much content as we can. So without further ado, we always start off with CG and his beer of the day. And go ahead, Aussie. Go ahead, mate.
All right, man. Yeah, talk about Aussie, mate. We got ourselves a Foster's. You can get them at your local stores, man. There's the green one and there's the blue one, but I think this is the ale version or something, if I'm mistaken. I just couldn't pass on this beer, but yeah, it's definitely an Aussie beer.
Our guys here per every Tuesday doing the Berry Sports. What's up?
Very refreshing beer. Not too strong, but it seems decent to me. So I guess from a 1 to 10, the way it doesn't seem salty. It seems normal. I give it a 7. Not my kind.
Yeah, I think with Foster's, is it Foster's? It might be Foster's that they do at the Outback Steakhouse. I think that's kind of like their beer that they promote, mainly because they're like an Australian vibe or whatever. So
yeah.
Foster's. Do you remember those old commercials? Foster's Australian for beer.
I think there was an old commercial like that, but this is like a decent beer.
Boomerang and stuff like that. All right, so I'm drinking on this Beer Hug stuff. I didn't even really read the label. I just grabbed it. It's 9.9% alcohol, so this one's kind of strong. It's almost like a hard alcohol. Basically, it's full of sunshine and tropical sweetness. I'm not a big fan of that kind of thing. Like I said, I didn't read the label. I don't normally go for this kind of stuff, but I haven't tasted it before, so we're gonna find out how much alcohol is in this.
Yeah. I don't believe a single report from you, Philly. You kind of make up a lot of stories.
That's that's weird. It's like really sweet.
Yeah, it's like really sweet.
Tastes like pooch that somebody made in their bathtub or something.
Nah, I get it, man. A lot of these, let's get this topic out the window. I know we heard Brandon Aiyuk is requesting a trade. It's been official. It's been reported by Mike Garafolo. Just by my 2 cents, I think this is just what Deebo Samuel did. Same thing. I think he just wants to get this contract over with. This is the way to get the Niners' attention by requesting a trade. So do I think he's going anywhere? No, he ain't going nowhere. The Niners already have that they already said it pretty clear. That they already told other teams, no, we're not interested in trading, so stop calling.
Yeah, so here's my take on it real quick. So the Niners gave him the freedom to explore a trade during the draft. It didn't happen. The Niners were asking too much. They're not going to come down from that asking price. So draft picks are kind of out of the equation. And so my thing is like, it's going to have to be an asset for asset trades, and player for player trades just don't happen in the NFL. You can't I can't recall the last time a player for player trade happened. Usually it'll be a player for a draft pick or this, that, but that's not going to help the 49ers in 2024. I think, that's been said ad nauseum, and I think it's a great point. I don't think that the Niners are going to give him up for nothing. They're not going to give him up for a draft pick. They're not going to give him up for anything less than what he's producing already. It doesn't make sense for them. Their Super Bowl window is it's this year. It's boom or bust. So Brandon Aiyuk can go ahead and talk all this stuff. I think Ryan Williams, his agent, is not doing him a service. Like we talked about this just a bit ago. Deebo did his little trade request, which was leveraging obviously in April. It's now training camp time. Like it's a week before vets have to report, and Ryan Williams and Brandon Aiyuk are pulling this. It's terrible timing. It's not going to benefit him. And then if he goes into it further and decides to start missing games, those are game checks. That's $700,000 a week that he's going to be moving. If the Niners make him play on that $14.1 million, I mean, those are huge bites of the apple every week, like almost $1 million every week that he's losing. And then he's going to be down to $4 million. He's not going to do that. So again, the Niners hold all the leverage. They hold all the cards. They could franchise him in 2025 and 2026 if they want to. They've literally have Brandon Aiyuk handcuffed. And I think that Ryan Williams could have done a better job earlier on by using this tactic that's oft used as trade me. They don't really mean it, but it's leveraging. I think, obviously the Niners front office isn't stupid. They know what's happening. So to me, this whole trade request is coming untimely. It's not a good move in my opinion. And I think Ryan Williams is hurting his client at this point.
Yeah. I think the value is hurting Brandon Aiyuk a little more. I mean, but I get it. He wants to get his contract done, but he can actually just test the market next year if we're not going to give him his contract. But
and then even further, the Niners can just go ahead and franchise him. Then what's he going to do? Hold out again? Like he can hold out for 3 years, and then what good does that do him? What good does it do him if he's holding out in the season? He's not putting tape out,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
He doesn't want to do with what Le'Veon Bell and quite a few other players have done. It didn't work out for them. I mean, it's just, I don't see this happening for Aiyuk. He ain't going nowhere. It's like a team can offer what they want to offer, but it's got to be where both sides benefit. So even though behind the scenes we were talking about this, we even talked about it on a different episode where I said the only way I would make this trade happen was if we were to swap the wide receiver like Davante Adams from the Raiders. You solve both issues. Adams has a contract that goes on for a little while, but Aiyuk gets himself a big contract with the Raiders, and that would solve both sides. But like you said, you don't like the vibe of what you saw from Adams, so maybe it might not be the best plan going forward.
Yeah. And so for people that might not have seen the receiver, Adams was one of the players that was in there. I actually just posted a 8-episode review on my channel yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So anyway, I talked a little bit about that, and basically the vibe that Adams had was that he does not care about winning and losing, and that's everything anti what the Niners stand for. They sell out for each other. They're team guys. They'll do whatever it takes to get that hardware. We saw it, in that series. We saw it last year unfold, and these guys have heart. They were playing injured. They were playing through stuff. Every team has injuries, so it's not like we were special in that sense, but you could see the heart that these guys and the blood, sweat, and tears that they put into this game. So when I hear a guy like Davante Adams say winning and losing doesn't matter to me, and he's talking about he only cares about his own greatness, to me, that's like a selfish player. Like that is not a Niners locker room type of guy. And maybe he could get around these guys like Bosa and Fred and stuff like that and like flip a switch and think a different way, because he's not been exposed to that culture, and probably did a little bit in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is a diva too. So, I don't know.
Nah, like here's the problem. When you play for the Raiders, you're going to be a selfish type of individual, because it's happened with many players. Once you go to the Raiders, you're going to think about yourself. You're not even thinking about winning, because the winning ways of the Raiders is dead. The Al Davis era of just win, baby, that's been dead. You're not gonna. This is a dead culture. Nobody has a career with the Raiders. They are better off leaving the Raiders at this point of their career. If Aiyuk wants his top paid contract, let's just send him. We'll send him over there, and he can.
And Vegas is a young team, right? Like they got a young quarterback, they got young players. That Max Crosby's still relatively young. They got a young nucleus of players, so they'll be up and coming, and in a couple years probably, especially if Pierce works out. So they'll be all right. And if they can get a younger player like BA, he's 26, he'd fit right into that whole younger vibe, and they can develop the chemistry and stuff like that. But the Davante Adams with the Niners thing, they have a lot of vets. They're already an old team. They're like ready to win now. They've got like one freaking like boss at the end of the video game, and that's the Chiefs. They got one hurdle to
But can you imagine a more proven veteran like Adams on with him and Deebo Samuel and quite a few of his receivers?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think Brock's gonna have a problem with giving him the ball. No, I think it's gonna make the best out of him.
Yeah, and I just saw Jordan Love breaking down his ideal perfect play. Davante Adams was part of that, and he put on a pass route. He's the best route runner in the NFL. If you give that choice route to Davante Adams on the Niners with all these other weapons already, you got McCaffrey and Debo and Kittle and everybody else, and then you put somebody like Davante Adams in there. Yeah, that is the Avengers, essentially.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if we were to, that just makes the most sense of the trade. But
the locker room is
Locker room culture could be the problem.
And like one of the biggest things to Devontae in this series that I watched was he wasn't getting the ball. And he started throwing like not tantrums necessarily, but he was pissed, like legit pissed that he wasn't getting the ball. And the Niners have so many great players, the ball goes everywhere. Is that going to be a problem in the locker room? Is that going to be something where he's like, I only got 3 catches and I only got targeted 5 times today. Screw you guys, you know? Like, I don't know.
Well, maybe when you go to a different culture, you have to embrace the way it is. You know, you're going to say, you know what, I'm not that number one guy. I'm going to have to do whatever it takes to win. Sometimes when you leave a certain other team, you get rid of that bad habit. Maybe the habit with the Raiders is losing, bro. They get used to themselves. They always look at themselves and say, I'm all great. I'm all worried about being great. I
think that Pierce changed the culture, though. So they didn't capture that because the series kind of shifted towards the Niners and the Lions because they were deeper in the playoffs. Raiders were out. So they kind of like Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams, they kind of backed off of that and went a little bit more Niner-centric. So yeah. Have you seen it yet?
I only seen very little clips of it, but I got to check more of the – I don't know. Like I have to probably go into my wife's account because she has a Netflix account, so I'll probably have to look into it later. But
yeah, I definitely recommend it. I thought it was really good. There were other people that didn't think it was like Guy Haberman said he didn't get hooked the first episode, and it starts out a little bit slow, but it gets way better. Like probably episode 4, maybe around that area, it starts getting really good. There's a lot of stuff that we see that we didn't get to see, like on Mic'd Up and NFL Films and things like that. So I thought it was really interesting. This freaking guy again, this Philly guy is insane.
Dude, this guy.
Hold on. I want to ask him if he can name the 53 because the 53 hasn't been set yet. They got 90 players right now trying to make the team. There's no 53.
Yeah, it's coming from a 13 or 14-year-old guy, bro. he ain't got nothing better to say. He may know his Eagles team, of course, but he's just trying to give you a hard time.
Rob, no real information yet. He went on the NFI. He did it away from.
There isn't quite real information yet.
He didn't do it at the facility. He did it away from the facility. We saw, those videos of him working out with Cowing and stuff like that. So
yeah, this kid, bro. You know what? I'm kind of curious since Philly knows about the Eagles. Who is the starting center? I'm very curious. Is it that let me ask you, since Kelsey retired, Philly.
Well, last year when they had a 53, it was Kelsey. So
yeah, but who's the starting center now? Because I don't follow the Eagles like that.
They say Jurgensen.
Maybe. Was it Jurgensen or was it the guy from Alabama they drafted a while back? I forget his name.
I think it's the guard that they had that they're gonna slide him over.
No, they.
Anyway, this isn't an Eagles channel. Let's get back on topic. So the next thing, do you have anything more like on the Brandon Aiyuk thing that you wanted to say about it? Like I don't think it's going to happen. I do think it can get messy. I think it's just
distraction. It's just distraction to get a contract done. I think that's all it is.
And another thing why I think Ryan Williams is screwing his client over, because let's say the Niners do force him to play on the 5th-year option at $14.1 million. And maybe he holds in, right? Like Debo did. He holds in camp. He shows up. He reports, but he's not going to participate. And the thing is, when you're not participating, you're not getting those reps. And so you're not putting your best film out for the entire season. So now you just cost your client even more money by telling him to hold in and not take reps. Yeah. It's like a double-edged sword. So like he should have done this in like April or, earlier than that, even like right after the draft. He should have done it. And he should have asked for the trade then. They let him seek the trade during the draft, and it just nobody took the bait. Nobody took the bait.
Nah, the Niners. I think the fact they drafted wide receivers, they were already fully aware of that. They already probably had an idea like, oh, Ayuk's gonna want his top contract. You know what? Let's just get this kid from Florida. Let's get this other receiver. I think we'll be good. But I mean, you look at how Aiyuk is, bro. He's going to demand some top contract because he's been ascending for this Niners offense. He does the dirty work, of course, but his agent's terrible.
He's a top 3 route runner, right? Yeah. Like I think top 3, top 5 at least. I mean, Devontae Adams is probably the best route runner. Well, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams. Justin Jefferson listed Devontae Adams as the best route runner. He didn't list himself probably because he couldn't, but those two guys, right? Like, and then maybe BA's behind them or a couple slots after them,
Yeah, but he's up there.
Yeah. And so I think that he also is probably the best blocking wide receiver. I mean, we see him like, in that Pittsburgh game pushing guys like 30 yards down the field for CMC's touchdown. So I think he's got so many different nuances to his game. He's got so many things that he can do that don't show up on a stat line, right?
And he does the dirty work.
I think that's his point, and his agent's point is like these intangible things that I can do that aren't going to show up on a stat line. Plus my stat line's good too. Like give me 180 targets and see what happens. Obviously, that's not going to happen on this kind of team. And so then the Niners have to start asking themselves, who's more important to the team? Again, I'm going to go back to this receiver thing. I'm starting to plug my own stuff without even trying to do it. But like they showed like Deebo Samuel, they talked about that when he went out, like the whole offense had to change. So Deebo is like huge. He's a huge piece to this offense. And when he goes out, it doesn't look the same. Brandon Aiyuk was still in there when Deebo went out with that fractured shoulder against the Browns and missed 3 weeks. Brandon Aiyuk didn't show up. So maybe that's the Niners' argument. It's like, bro, like you're supposed to be the superstar receiver that's supposed to be able to carry a team. But when Deebo went out, what happened? We lost 3 straight. And that wasn't all on Brandon. You can't put it all on Brandon as a team. Like Moody missed the field goal at the end of the Browns game. So like there were other things, but
other factors.
Did he show up with a 150-yard stat line? Did he show up with 2-3 touchdowns? He didn't do that. So like, is he truly, truly worth it? Do you know who Mad Dog is on ESPN?
Yeah, the Chris Russo or something?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. It's an older guy. Anyway, he kind of looks like Skip Bayless. I don't know his real name. They call him Mad Dog.
Yeah, Mad Dog Chris Russo or something.
Okay. So he was talking. I try not to pay attention to these blowhard hacks because half the time they're just throwing stuff against the wall to see what'll stick. But he started talking about those elements. He started talking about the Brandon Aiyuk, nuances and things that he does. And actually, I took a screenshot here of a stat of his that, yards per reception, 17.8. He was first in the NFL. Yards per target, 12.2, first in the NFL. First down percentage, 83%, first in the NFL. So there's some stats that his agent can use to go to the table and things like that. But when you look at him, is he a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown that's going to consistently get a good stat line, or A.J. Brown or any of these other guys? On this team, probably not. But like when Deebo was out, this is my point. Like when Deebo was out, what did B.A. do?
He wasn't quite a non-factor as everybody was thinking. Like you saw the production dropped a little bit with B.A. Once Deebo was out, it's kind of hard to replace what Deebo does. Deebo is like an entire kind of an offense that sets the tone for us. Like without Trent and Deebo, this was exactly what they were saying. Like it wasn't the same.
I think I know the problem to our solution to our problem, and I think Jason just put it here. The 49ers need to sign Joe Montana.
Oh, wait, are you talking about the one for the water boy? Jason Mott, he got some good sense of humor.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we can move past this Brandon Aiyuk stuff. I think it's gonna get messy. It's gonna play into the season, at least training camp. He's gonna have a down year. Look, Deebo, Bosa, those guys had down years, right? Like their contract
had down years because they were holding out on their contracts, and that's what really affected them.
So as much as we want to praise Parag Maraith and John Lynch and all these guys, they're not getting their guys in the door when it matters. Like they're holding out, they're playing games. And it's like, look, either just be straight up with Brandon Aiyuk and say, we're not going to trade you. Don't ask for it. Go ahead and hold out and lose money, and just be straight up with him. Go ahead and hold out and lose money if you want. We're still not going to trade you. And you're playing on the fifth year option because we're not even close. So let's revisit it next year. Let's table it. We'll put the franchise tag on you next year if we have to negotiate even further. But let's play this out. Let's go get a ring. That's going to help your contract next year too, right?
Yeah.
Like
it might even make it more of a strong. He might even set the market, so that could.
Yeah, if we get a ring and your stats go up from last season, now you are a $32 million a year wide receiver.
Yeah.
Right? So
that would be fair.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's kind of at this point getting really annoying. Like I'm starting to get to the point where like I'm ready to go outside and start kicking birds or something. Like it's crazy, man. Like it's absolute nonsense, and it's frustrating that the Niners aren't getting this done, and it's frustrating that Brandon Aiyuk's agent is a dud. Let's be frank.
I mean, this agent seems like a rookie, like you said, dude. He needs to he's making a rookie mistake.
Like why didn't this happen in April? It doesn't make any sense. All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic. Enough Brandon Aiyuk for me. I'm sorry. If you want to keep talking about him, I'll give you the floor. If you have anything else to say,
we're done.
I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm over it. Like, I kind of don't want to talk about it until he's signed or not.
Yeah, me too.
But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case, right?
Well, that's not the case because, Aiyuk contact is kind of making me some money on TikTok, so I ain't going to complain about it. I got to keep it going.
Right. All right. Well, the next thing, the main thing that we wanted to talk about, we did want to squeeze that in because it's the topic of the day and everything like that. So we wanted to kind of juice that a little bit and give our thoughts there. But moving on, we're going to talk about the new kickoff rule. I think this is going to be very interesting and probably very messy. We're gonna show a video here real quick that kind of breaks down the new kickoff rule. So if you guys have not seen that, check this out. I'm going to bring it up right now.
Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, these rules are pretty interesting.
You need a.
Yep.
So they're gonna kind of just the first thing they talk about is lowest kickoff rate in NFL history. We're not seeing those flashy Ted Ginn or Devin Hester type kickoff returns anymore. So they're trying to bring that back, and I'm not sure that's going to work. So we'll kind of keep it moving there. It says, they're trying to minimize injuries also with this. Who knows if that'll work?
Yeah, that's true.
So the new rule will keep the excitement of the kickoff returns in the game while returning the injury rate closer to that of traditional scrimmage play. Don't believe it. That's just NFL fluff. So they kick off from 35. 10 members of the kicking team will line up on the receiving yard, team's 40-yard line. Minimum of 9 members of the receiving team will line up between the 30 and 35. It begins when the ball is either caught or hits the ground. So I want to talk about this for a second. So they're talking about hitting the ground. So in the XFL, which this rule originated from, they could not move until the returner had the ball. That's not going to be the case with the NFL. So they can go ahead and squib it if you get one of the kickers to kick it in between the 20 and the 10 and it hits the ground. It's now a live ball, almost like an onside kick. So we're going to probably see a lot of Guy Haberman pointed to this. Shout out to him for reporting this during OTAs that the Niners were practicing squibbing it and line drive kicking it into this zone so that, somebody doesn't get a clean catch. It's not going to be up in the air. You might also see really high kicks. And so, there's that. Do you have any thoughts on that? Or?
Well, the squib kick is part of what's going to make it more interesting because there's going to be more return game. Like you said, from the XFL, when I was watching the XFL, you saw that the returning game was more of a thing. But I think there's a rule where you have to get the ball or else it's considered a flag or something like that?
I'm not sure about the penalties situation. I would imagine like if it goes out of bounds, it's just going to be like the normal rule, right? Like
no more touchback, right?
Yeah, so you're going to have precision, like in the zone where they're line driving it into that rectangle, and it's going to sit. Or you're going to have to really have a pretty accurate kicker. But again, like I was saying, like maybe they'll pop it up into the air really high, and then maybe somebody's going to have to fair catch it, and then the offense has to go even further, right? So I don't know. I think teams are going to tinker with this and try to play around with it. I'm going to keep this going. Video. I'm done with that Philly guy. So. Okay, so here's this anytime the kick bounces from the landing zone into the end zone, it must be returned or down.
Must be
so
returned.
That's pretty much the same for a touchback. And then they get it to 20. So remember, the other kickoff, when you downed it, you got it at the 25 because they had changed it.
So they're going back to the 20-yard line, right?
They're going back to the 20. So this so if they don't kick it, okay, that's interesting. Let's rewind that real quick. So if the kick fails to reach the 20-yard line, the receiving team takes possession at its 40-yard line.
Yeah, 40-yard line. So they kick it from the squib kick. So if the kick fails, which is the 40-yard line, like they always do that, right?
If it doesn't reach the 20, they have to kick it over the 20, no matter what. But if it bounces, if somebody screws it up and it hits the 21-yard line, they get it at the 40 automatically.
Yeah.
So they have to be very precise in kicking it into that zone.
So if they don't make it at the 20-yard line, that's considered like going to the 40-yard line instead?
Like a penalty. Yeah, like kicking it out of bounds, basically. So
but they had to make it to the 20-yard line. Okay. So this rule might be good. This might be more excitement because when I saw the XFL do this was kind of more interesting.
So if the ball enters the end zone in the air, the receiving team can return it, down it, and take possession at the 30-yard line. So if they overkick it, that's even more yards. So it's not even 25, it's 30. So this makes you really have to think. It's almost like shuffleboard or something, like where you have to get it in that zone to get points.
Yeah.
Or to be not points necessarily.
So the touchback would be 20 yards instead of the 25. Okay. So they're going back to the original what it used to be. But
well,
so
30.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different because they get it to 30 if it goes in. If it goes outside the zone, you're penalized no matter what. So if you go outside that blue zone that they're showing there, you get penalized as the kicking team no matter what.
So you think they're going to do more squib kicks, right?
Well, Guy was saying that they were trying to squib it, because they're kicking off from the 30. I can't point. If can you see my pointer? Okay, so they're kicking off from the 35 right here. The kicker can't move past the 50 too. That was another rule that I read. The kicker can't move past the 50 until the returner has the ball. So the kicker has to stay back. And so he kicks it from the 35 over here, and he has to kick it in this zone. And if he kicks it on the 21 or he kicks it into the end zone and it's caught, it's either going to be ball at the 40 or ball at the 30. That's your penalty. So that's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, it can return it or down it. Yeah, so I guess that kind of because last season was an all-time low. So
ball goes out of bounds. Same rule. 40-yard
same
rule.
No fair catch.
Okay,
Ooh,
so no fair catch.
Outside permits. Ooh,
interesting.
So if you can't get a fair catch, that means
they have to.
So you have to return the kick. So no more of this.
So that's what I was saying. Like maybe teams will boot it like 80 yards up in the air off the tee to try to get people to get nailed. Or you're going to see line drive kicks. You're not going to see regular kicks anymore. I mean, there might be some teams that just say, we'll play the play and kick it into the zone. But anyway, you're going to need somebody that has really good hands, and we'll get into that here in a second. Let's finish this out.
Yeah, let's check that out.
That's right off the NFL's page. I'm going to let it play one more time. It's only a minute. We kind of paused it, so I'm just going to let it go one more time. Give me a chance to drink a little bit of my beer real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. Ah, man. Yeah, we're enjoying the day, bro.
I'm just going to put the, I didn't put that up there. New kickoff rule. What we're covering now. And,
yeah, we're definitely are.
Turn that music off real quick. I'm going to put this up. I'm going to keep letting that play. Let's talk about some of the candidates. So, like I said, I think you're going to have somebody that has really good hands, really good ball skills. These are kind of some of the names that come to mind with that. Garendo, Debo, Bell if he makes the team, Ronnie Bell, Trent Taylor if he makes the team, and then obviously Ricky Pearsall. So
yeah, you're in timeout, kid. Oh yeah, the ball goes out of bounds.
Are we doing a show or are we having a conversation with somebody who doesn't matter to this channel?
No, the fair catch rule.
So yeah. Anyway, yeah. I will remove that and we can get back into this stuff.
Yeah. No, I get the rule now because there's no fair catches, which that's what they're trying to prevent. I think last year we had the most fair catches and we had the least return ability. That's why they're changing the rules. And like you said, they're kicking the ball in between the 20-yard line. If you don't kick past the 20-yard or kick between the 20-yard line, I think that's like a penalty, like you said, out of bounds. And they're trying to make the plays more electrifying, but you think it might not work out.
So we're into candidates now, and so obviously they have to line up on the 35, the defending team. So they're lining up on the opposite field, and then you get 2 or 3 total backmen. You get two guys that can be off the line of scrimmage for the receiving team. I'm about to block this guy, man. I'm starting to get annoyed. Not gonna lie. Like, who is it?
I know. He's a 12-year-old, bro. Don't even sweat it, man.
I don't care. Like, it's starting to get annoying.
Dude, anyway, it's like
we're trying to have a show. And
we're trying to have a show.
I'm not trying to like engage with some of these guys. So
okay, so
I'm trying to be a dick, but like, let's get back on topic.
Yeah, a candidate, right? So a candidate. Like, we talked about this behind the scenes. I think it's Isaac Guerrero because he was an athlete. He was a receiver. He did a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on anybody else?
I mean, do you really want to put Debo as a returner with the fact he can get injured?
I mean, they did it last year. They did it last year.
And it just didn't work.
Well, he didn't get hurt on any kickoffs, so that's why I put him up there. I mean, like, Debo, obviously, yes, you don't want him to get hurt. So, ideally, Guerrero, Bell, Taylor, Pearsall. There are some other guys, maybe
Calvin. Another one.
But so, like, it's kind of set up a little bit more like a running back play. And that's why I think Guerrero makes the most sense because he's a little bit bigger. He's faster. He can break away.
And he can change it with another gear. So that can be somebody to watch out for. Like, I think Isaac Guerrero is built for this new kickoff rule, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to want to tackle a 221-pound guy that's built and just runs like a 4.3 speed? You're going to catch this guy, you're going to tackle him out of bounds or something? I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for a lot of these guys, but, I think that Ronnie Bell could be a guy because if he gets injured, who cares, right? Taylor could be a guy. He's got really good hands. Ricky Pearsall, I don't think they're going to do that. He's kind of got a body type that I don't think you would want to put back there.
Nah.
And then so the other personnel, the other questions are like, who are the other guys? Because they're not going to be offensive linemen or defensive linemen, but are they going to be like all linebackers? Are they going to be? They're not going to even be the defensive backs. Going to be too small.
I think
you don't really need a gunner anymore.
No,
because everybody's face to face.
No, I think it's going to be somebody that's on our bench at least.
You're going to get tight ends. You're going to get linebackers. You're going to get a lot of those types of guys who have size, that can block and push them around. And I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of like defensive backs anymore on kickoffs. At least you might get them on punts, as gunners, but I don't think you're going to get them as on the kickoff anymore.
Nah, I think the way you look at it is, I think it's going to be a little different. You're not going to go with those light receivers no more. You're going to go with somebody that's at least 200 pounds or over now. So forget about those skinny receivers because they can get hit from this new kickoff rule from the looks of it. But
when you're building a roster, you're going to have to keep all these things in mind. You're going to have to say like, who do I want on my special teams? And now the special teams coaches are going to be heavily involved in the final 53 and ultimately the practice squad too. So, here's another one. Steve-O just threw out is Elijah Mitchell, right? Like your backup running back. He's got really good hands. He proved that in his rookie season when he almost, he had like 200 or 300 yards receiving and 900 yards rushing in 10 games. So he showed that he can receive if he's still on the roster and he's not hurt, because God knows when the wind blows, Elijah Mitchell's getting hurt. So, yeah, I think that's a really good question mark there. Like, is Elijah Mitchell a guy that they would consider?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility because he adds a little bit of a different element to this offense, like the speed wise and all that stuff. There's another candidate also, like maybe Corey Schrader, or what was that dude? That other running back we got?
Cody Schrader, right? Yeah,
Cody Schrader. Yeah, Cody Schrader. Cody Schrader seems like the kind of guy that if he wants to make a roster, he might have to make a good impression in special teams. So maybe him. But I think it's built for Garendo personally.
Yeah, I mean, former receiver, big guy, runs a 4.3. Writing's kind of on the wall, I think. So we'll see. But I mean, we haven't had an electrifying receiver since Ted Ginn. I think he was the last one to run a kickoff back when Harbaugh was here in that Seattle game. Okay. So I don't think anybody else has run a kickoff back since then. So what was that, like 2011?
Nah, it was like so a while ago, like since that Seattle game. Remember that Seattle game where he returned 2 kicks and it was just like a game-breaking play? Man.
I'm not messing with that dude anymore. I'm about to like ban him from the channel. Like,
dude. I mean, don't get me wrong.
It's really annoying. Like, you get a little 12-year-old kid in here that thinks they're cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not with that, dude.
I'm not
gonna even get distracted. Like, we're trying to have a show and talk about things like grown-ups. Like, that's
definitely agree.
Not my thing. So,
I agree. I agree with you 100%. I'm not even trying to interact with this kid no more, bro. I'm trying to stay away from kids.
Anyway,
because I don't want to get in trouble and be called this.
Yeah, you don't want to be like the next Dr. Disrespect. So.
Yeah, I don't want to be in that. So I might have to block
him.
Done with
that. So no more kid talk. This is an adult channel.
Like, it's adult channel.
We're not messing with
no kids allowed.
Go play NCAA 25. Get out of here.
No kids allowed in this channel anymore, man. We're trying to keep away from the pedal crap.
Yeah.
But the new kickoff role, I think Isaac Garendo is going to be something special. But then you look at Taylor, he's just more of an obvious choice because he holds on the ball well. He doesn't return kicks like you would expect, but he just holds on to the ball perfectly. He's not going to fumble.
Yeah. So I'm going to move on. I don't think there's much more to talk about returner wise. So who's going to do the kickoffs? Moody or Mitch? I think they were both taking reps. They were both taking reps in OTA. So,
but I think, like you said, I agree with you 100%. I think it's going to be Mitch.
Yeah, it could be because he's got that rugby background. I mean, rugby is more of a drop kick. So
yeah, and he kind of fits well into it. Moody's kind of more of a traditional kicker at this point.
There might be instances, like depending on their strengths and weaknesses within this new rule, where they both do it. There might be like, okay, like it's a windy day. We want Moody to kick it like 100 feet in the air. We want him to like launch it off the tee up in the air, or we want Mitch to squib it, or do something like that.
Yeah, that's true. They do make football players soft. Some rugby, they just play a physical style, and that's something that can be. But you saw how Mishnowski made that tackle in the kickoff. He got flagged for that. For that kind of tackle, right?
Yeah, and so if you're counting on somebody as being a safety, that's probably the guy you want there. You don't want Moody back there. Moody will get ran over, right? And so if somebody breaks through that initial line on the 35,
you got Mishnowski making that play. He's not afraid.
Mishnowski is gonna get dirty, and so he might be excited for this role.
Yeah,
it seems like he likes to hit people. Do you remember when he was a rookie and
and he got flagged for that? He got flagged for hitting that return.
He got an unnecessary roughness as a punter making a tackle. That was golden.
He took down.
I wish I had that clip right now to play because that was amazing.
I think this is built for him to do this because why would you want to have Moody? I don't think Moody's the kind of guy that's going to make a tackle like that.
So moving forward with the NFL, do you think that teams are going to start considering that? Like, do we want this new kicker, since they're basically the safety, do we want them to be able to tackle? you think more rugby players are going to start getting drafted?
Probably, maybe it benefits for some rugby players if you got a kick if you can kick further distance like how Wisnowski does it can open a door for more of those kickers. Because I think a traditional kicker, it's not gonna work if you're gonna have a return man just go past you. You gotta have a physical kind of kicker that plays rugby and wants to take you down.
Loving the new logo. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we're working.
We came up with that a bit ago. We might eventually have some merch for sale.
Very soon.
Like maybe some beer bongs with that logo on it that you can take to Niners tailgates. Kenny too. Logo's fire. Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate it. You froze up on me. CG, where'd you go? Oh, I think CG might have just looked in Medusa's eyes. He's frozen in time. So I'm going to keep going. Maybe he'll hop back in. Mitch or Moody. I'm going to jump into a 49ers Q&A. Who do you guys think? Mitch or Moody? Who's going to be doing
reception? Is the reception kind of bad, bro? I've been having some issues.
You froze for like a good 2 minutes, so I don't know what happened. But you're back. You're back. So I just opened it up I opened it up for 49ers Q&A, trying to ask who everybody thinks. Kenny says Mitch. Kenny also said you were in the Matrix, and that's kind of what it looked like, actually.
Yeah, and did I request a trade, dude? Did I really request a trade? I didn't request a trade.
Requested a trade. I think he's going over to the Raiders, guys. Just broke. Breaking news. CG's going to the Raiders. That's why he wore that black and silver Niners hat. It was a foreshadowing of what's to come.
Actually, it's a blue color. Actually, it's like a dark blue, like kind of like the
Cowboys has been finicky. I haven't noticed, but I did notice that they made me take a survey earlier. So maybe they locked you up, buddy. You got to take that survey. They're starting to make people freeze up that aren't taking the survey. Go take that survey.
Yeah, Streetvard's been a little flaky. Yep.
All right, so we're in 49ers Q&A, and you guys can go ahead and drive the ship from here. Any topics that you guys want to talk about for the next, what do we got, 15 to 18 minutes? Try to wrap it up in under an hour. If you guys don't have any questions, we can bounce off and chug our beers without you. So fire away.
Fire away. Leave us some couple questions, man.
Any questions about the kickoffs? Does everybody gather that? Like, does everybody have a good grasp on that? I could bring the video back up if there's anything that anybody didn't get, but it's going to be, in my opinion, I think it's going to be kind of a shit show, for lack of a better term. I think it's going to be chaos at first until NFL teams figure it out. I think weeks 1 through 6, it's going to be everybody's just trying different stuff and they're seeing what's working. They're going to have to try to have point accuracy and everything like that, and it's going to be a mess. So,
okay.
So Bebop missed the video. I'm going to bring it back up.
Well, Kenny just brought up another question. Name everyone in our RB from week 1. I'll make it pretty simple.
I'll put the question up, and in the meantime, I'm going to pull that video up for Bebop and go ahead and answer that.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey's, of course, number 1 running back. Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason, Isaac Arendo. I think that's pretty much a lock. Cody Schrader, you never know, but I think he'll be on our practice squad, unfortunately. And
for me, it's probably Christian, Elijah, Arendo, and Schrader. That's and then Juice. Obviously, Juice is going to be there. So, all right, I'm going to put this back up real quick.
Yeah, I mean, Cody Schrader looks impressive. He can catch the ball at the backfield from what I'm looking at.
Well, so the big knock on him coming out was that he can catch, but he doesn't catch unless the ball's put right on him. Thankfully, we have Purdy, and I think that Purdy can get the ball to him right in the breadbasket. So I'm going to move this real quick.
Yeah, Bebop's late for the party, I guess.
Yeah, Bebop, man. 5 o'clock every Tuesday. Well, 5 o'clock. So here we go. Bebop, hope you're still here. This was it.
Yeah.
So they line up at the 40. Defense kicks from the 35. Landing zone there.
Yeah, bounces from the landing zone, end zone must be returned or down. No fair catches.
I don't know about you, but this music makes me want to dance.
No, but is that a penalty if you just do a fair catch?
Yeah, fair catch.
So they can't even. So they got to return it. So no matter what. So even if a guy just runs up and hits him, right? So it's like, oh, I can't get the fair catch. Oh shoot, I'm getting hit.
Yeah, it's.
But isn't fair catch being wide and smart so you don't get hit?
Right. And so the NFL is like, let's protect you, but in the meantime, go ahead and we'll experiment with this and see what happens.
Yeah, seems like about it. Yeah. 40-yard line. Dang it, the 40-yard line. Yep. I went to the first celeb golf tournament this weekend, and who's a player y'all want to meet? Any sport. So if we were at a first celeb golf tournament, which
all time?
Like, okay, who's a player I want to meet? Man, dude, that's a tough one.
I met a lot of good ones. Like I met Steve Young. Probably Joe. I haven't met Joe. Maybe Jerry. My significant other Jen, she met Jerry, or she's seen Jerry at different places when we lived in the Bay Area, like multiple places, liquor store, all over the place, Chinese food restaurant. Actually, funny story, real quick. She went into a Chinese food restaurant and he went in there. He was like whispering. He's like, I got an order for rice. And she's like, you want more rice? Like in an Asian accent. I'm not going to be racist or anything, but like she said, you want more rice? He's like, no, the order's for rice. And she's like, you want more rice? And she like didn't get it or whatever. And
she got a little
like, it's kind of funny. Anyway, saw him at a liquor store too. And actually I just missed him because she had just dropped me off back at the place at the pad. And then she's like, oh, we're going to the liquor store. And she went with her sister and they went there and they saw him. And I was like, I was going to go. Like, I wanted to go. And I missed Jerry Rice. Like, I missed meeting Jerry Rice. Probably would have asked him for an autograph. But for me, it's probably not a 49er. It's actually probably a San Francisco Giant. I'd love to meet Barry Bonds. I know he roided and he juiced and everything like that, but he's one of the all-time greats. Like, come on. Like,
if I had to choose which player I wanted to meet, man, it would – I mean, I haven't met a lot of those other legends, but if I had to choose which one I liked the most, that was most entertaining Niner player I've ever enjoyed. I mean, Rice was just basic, but Terrell Owens was just entertaining, bro. Like, I would think it would be kind of fun to be around Terrell Owens just because of him as a person. Like, you can see he's kind of like the life of the party. Like,
yeah, he's a little bit of a wildcat. Like,
I would want to be around that guy. I think, okay, so if I had to choose another guy, I like Steve Young. He's one of my idols, but, man, I never met Steve Young, so I would have to put between. But Jerry Rice, bro, but I'm going to have to say, if I had to choose, I'm going to say it'd probably be nice to meet Steve Young at a golf tournament just because he's one of my favorite players.
I met him in Sacramento. Super nice guy, very humble, like doesn't care what walk of life you come from. Like he's a very humble guy. He and his wife have a really good foundation called Sophie's Place. They've got different hospitals that they're associated with, and they go into places and play music for like sick children and stuff like that. And
so he must be good for the foundation. That's what he seems like that kind of like nice Mormon guy because I've been told he's a Mormon from the religious that I follow. But
an old school defensive lineman. Some of you guys might remember Junior Bryant. He actually is part of Barbara, is Steve's wife's name. He's part of the organization and the foundation. So
that's good. I mean, there's another one I want to hang around with too, but just from Terrell Owens, he just seems like a fun guy.
Yeah.
But Brian Young just seems like the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah. You met him actually.
Yeah, Brian Young's one of the nicest dudes. Like, if I seen him at a game, he could have been like any other player and just walk his way and not even bother. But he took the time. He took a few minutes of his time to appreciate me and just took a quick picture and a nice gesture, and then he shook my hand and just left. He was kind.
What about
All right,
current players? For me, it's Kittle. Like Kittle lives in Nashville, so there's a chance I could actually run into him. So,
current players? Are we talking current players?
Current Niners players. If there's anybody you can meet, like for me, it's either Debo or Kittle. For me, it's Debo or Kittle.
I gotta say, George Kittle. He seems like a fun guy.
Yeah, crushing beers with Kittle. And
Debo seems cool.
Of the show.
Debo seems like the kind of cool guy, but if I needed somebody to back me up at a bar fight, it would be Jawan Jennings.
After seeing Mustafa's pictures, for me, I'm going Mustafa.
Oh, Mustafa, bro, that dude is built like Metcalf. Hell, I mean, he might even be my bodyguard.
I think he's more built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, dude. That guy.
Oh my god, dude!
Football, he could go be Mr. Universe or something.
Or WWE.
WWE. There you go. He could be like what's that one guy that? Oh man, I forgot.
Adam Jones did it for a little bit.
Who's the guy that's like crazy, like a black guy, like WWE? I think he had the what is it called? Not the Universal title. He had what's the little cheap title that kind of goes around and they're like playing tag to kind of get it and everything like that. I haven't watched it a bit. What belt is that?
No, was it Bobby Lashley or what?
No, not Bobby Lashley. Some R-Truth. Isn't it
R-Truth? You're talking about the 24/7 title.
I can see like Mustafa being 24/7. Thank you.
I think you would have a lot of fun with George Kittle more, but I think Dre Greenlaw. If I need somebody to back me up, I'm going with Dre Greenlaw.
What are you talking about, Tommy?
He stays down there, man.
Hey,
Come on,
Tommy, it's hot. It's hot down here. I'm not gonna lie. It's hot down here in the South. And I don't live in Nashville, by the way. Nashville is Asheville. So, but I live a little bit outside of Nashville. I live like a 40-minute commute, something like that. So I don't live in Asheville. But I do live
Asheville. Is that what they call it over there?
No, that's what Tommy calls
it. Tommy's one thing about Tommy, he's a little more of a humor guy. I like Tommy on every perspective except when he trashes my Lakers, man. I get annoyed by that.
I like Jason Kelce. I don't like Travis. I think Travis is juicing. I'm pretty sure he's on steroids. Like, how do you have all those thrown helmets and stuff and spitting on your coach and pushing him?
Temper, yeah.
He's on roids. He's at the age where you start taking roids or anything you can find that's not detectable. That's what he's doing.
I think Jason Kelce is probably the most likable person because what's there not to like about him? I mean,
he's a nice dude. He's humble. But he loves his brother, and
he loves his brother. He loves the fact that he kind of played his career with the Eagles and played exactly where it was going to be. But he kind of seems like the down to earth kind of guy that you probably want to go drink a beer with or go chill with. Kelce, maybe he's the kind of guy you don't want to be around with because maybe he might start some trouble. That kind of guy.
Tommy has a message for you, and I kind of agree with him.
Damn, dude.
I'm not a big basketball fan. I was worried.
He's been following the Celtics. He's been on the Celtics nuts lately. He's a Warriors fan jumping on the Celtics nutsack, man. Come on.
I don't really pay attention to the NBA, so I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's even good about this year is
that was actually fun. He brought up a good point. Did you see that? He was riding his motorcycle through like a tunnel. He like slipped and slid across the floor.
Fallen and Khalid showed up.
Yeah, another one. Like he fell down.
No, but if there was another celebrity you would want to meet, like if it's non-athlete, who would you want to meet?
Non-athlete?
Yeah.
I don't know. You go first. I got to think about this.
Man, dude, there's a lot of great actors. I've actually met Arnold before when he was governor, so I'll tell you, he was kind of a cool guy. I don't know. Like, I would definitely like to see. I would not want to meet Trump because it kind of seems too controversial. I would want to just stay neutral out of it, but he probably seems like too much dramatic. I don't want to get involved with that. I would say if I
politics, like
if I had to choose, if I had to choose somebody I wanted to meet, has to be somebody. Man, dude, I only got to see barely a little bit of Eminem, but I would have loved to hang around with that dude
at Detroit, the Detroit game. Yeah.
I would have liked to hang out with Eminem and be a part of his maybe one of his last tracks and get on one of the videos. I would probably like to be around Eminem.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of like who would be like a really genuine person, like somebody that would actually be funny to like hang out with.
I mean, Eminem seems kind of like a funny dude in my opinion.
Yeah, I met Jimmy Fallon. He's a really nice guy.
But Aaron Rodgers disagrees.
Aaron Rodgers, he's on his own program, man. That he's a little bit of a weirdo.
I would like to meet Ric Flair, actually. Ric Flair would probably be the coolest wrestler to meet. Go to a bar and he'll
You know who I actually think, and I don't like him as a wrestler. I, in fact, hate him. But I think Roman Reigns would be cool. Like, you could talk a lot of Niners ball with him, probably. I think that would be cool. For me, though, I think musician-wise, like, probably Chris Stapleton. Seems like a really, like, chill guy. Like, somebody that's got a lot of good stories to tell, you know? And like, drink a glass of whiskey with, and he'd smoke a cigar, and he'd have all kinds of stories with, you know.
I think if you were to hang around with Snoop Dogg, he'd be pretty cool to chill with, just to chill around like that kind of thing and kind of have a little G thing. But then from looking at other people, I don't think Ja Rule is that bad down to earth from what people are saying, bro. Like 50 Cent seems like a kind of fun guy to be around with, but I think Ja Rule is probably that one dude you want to kick it with.
Yeah, I don't know about Ja Rule for me, but I don't know.
I've seen some people met him before. They say Ja Rule.
What about like movie star wise?
I'm
gonna go like Niners, like either Rob Schneider or Jeremy Renner. Again, Niners fans. So hang out with my Niners peeps.
Yeah, I want to go with that route, but I want to go something a little more outside the box. I mean, I would like to hang around with Will Ferrell, just because he sounds like a funny dude. Him and Kevin Hart. Yeah,
I wonder how funny he is when things aren't scripted. Because did you see the roast? What was it? Just recently, somebody just got roasted. Tom Brady, the Tom Brady roast. Yeah. He showed up as Ron Burgundy, and it sucked. Like, it really, really, really sucked. Like, it was not good. And I feel like he was like just shooting off the, top of his pants. I just wonder how funny he is when there isn't a script in front of him. He can act out of part all day. For Vince Vaughn would be a fun one. That's like he's like on it.
Well, I mean, it would probably be fun to be around Vince Vaughn, but then you look at Ben Stiller's another one. But Jim Carrey, he just doesn't seem funny no more. But
this is totally random. You need Andy Dalton, trust me. Okay.
Ginger, rightfully.
Oh, he's a Rams fan, I think. So yeah, that would make sense. I think you guys already have Andy Dalton, and he wears number 9.
Oh, you know who else I would probably want to meet one day, but probably never meet. But you probably would know who I'm talking about. Like, you look at Adam Sandler, right? He kind of seems like a chill dude, but probably doesn't seem like that kind of guy to be around with as often.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him in person, and in a comedy thing here at Bridgestone Arena, and he kind of seemed depressed. Like he seemed like he was like 1 second away from like one wrong thing happening in his life to unalive himself. So he I don't know. Like, comedians are like that. Think about like Robin Williams. He took his life. Like a lot of these guys, Chris Farley had drug issues. A lot of these comedians have.
Will Smith seems like a fun dude, but kind of seems a little too dramatic too.
Yeah. I don't know.
I would probably have a good laugh with Chris Rock more. I would probably have more fun with Chris Rock's comedy more, and if I was over there.
Yeah. If Chris Farley was still alive, that's my guy. I want to hang out with Chris Farley. That's
or John Candy, like Joe Montana says, or John Candy.
I think like John Candy was Chris Farley before Chris Farley was Chris Farley. Yep. So yeah, those two guys, awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Teddy Ruxpin, turn that teddy bear on. No thanks. Anyway, got anything else, guys? Niners related? Nope.
Nothing. I guess we're good. So I'm gonna finish this drink.
Chug it and take us out.
Whoa! Let's go 49ers! Whoa!